Good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait from Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us. Happy to have on our show today Sharon Bousquet, the Highgate Town Administrator, former Highgate Select Board Chair. Sharon, good to see you.
Very good to see you.
I know in your early months on the job, you must be tough figuring out what to do every day. I was going to say so little going on. In fact, of course, there's so much going on. But and again, you took command. When did you start the job?
The 20th of June.
20th of June. I'm sure you'll remember that date probably forever, huh? So,
yes.
so a few months in. I mean, a lot of stuff going on, but you're comfortable with the job? How you doing?
I am enjoying myself.
Yeah?
Actually, I'm having fun.
Is that right?
Yeah, I like the job. I'm delighted with all the new people I've met and the people I've worked with over the years. So, very happy.
And you were pretty confident. I'm sure a new job, and that's a big job. Do you have some concerns about that job, or do you have a pretty good feeling it would work out okay? You certainly know your town.
Well, yes, I know my town, and the former administrator, Heidi Pritch-Valenta, had left big shoes to fill, by all means. Sure. There were a lot of projects going on. But for me, it was perfect timing, and I do love my town, and I'm very happy to be of assistance. So.
That's great. Well, we've got to knock off a bunch of stuff to talk about. So you took command June 20th. I think it was exactly a month later. July 20th was a vote on the village core buying the land for a wastewater system. Boy, I did take note. That was a pretty tight vote. In fact, 44 to 39, I guess.
Yes, that was an extremely tight vote.
Did you anticipate? And of course, it wasn't. It was just, I guess, a special town meeting. Was that what it was billed as?
Correct. We do not go by Australian ballot, so all of our votes are from the floor. So there was a special town meeting, which actually drew more people than our
that's a good point.
March town meeting. So people were very interested.
So obviously there was discussion before the vote, obviously, that night.
Yes, we had an information meeting before the vote.
Yeah.
We learned that we didn't do a good job of marketing. We knew what we were working toward, but we hadn't expressed that well enough to our public.
Yeah, and that came across, I assume, at that meeting from some folks. And was that kind of the main criticism? You didn't give us enough information. We don't know exactly what you're up to? Yes.
All of our meetings are public, of course, but people don't realize what happens behind the scenes in a town or village. So the Village Core Committee had been working for years on different studies and assessments, and it had finally come to the point where, for the wastewater system, we needed to have a property. So that vote was to buy the property with $200,000 coming from the state, which was granted to us, and $100,000 from the town's ARPA funds that we had received from COVID. So we thought that was fine. We weren't costing the taxpayer anything, so it would be a no-brainer, but that was not true. We needed to get people more educated.
Interesting. And as that meeting played out with the discussion, did you think there was a real chance that wasn't going to pass? Did it look like it'd be a pretty tight vote?
We knew it was going to be a tight vote.
And indeed it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you got your vote.
We did, yes.
And so again, since then, you're making some progress?
Yes, absolutely. Right now, we're trying to do a big information campaign about what our wastewater system is, what we're looking to achieve, why we're doing it for this property and the village. People are very confused about what a wastewater system is for Highgate.
And again, we're not talking some big wastewater plant out in St. Albans City or something.
Exactly. We're not talking Swanton Village. We're not talking St. Albans Town. We're not talking Winooski or Burlington. This is basically just a giant leach field. I did bring.
Yeah, looks like you have some good stuff here.
Bring a somewhat, gonna hold this up for you.
So again, what is a leach field?
Correct.
What's the purpose of a leach field? So some good basic information there.
Yes, and you'll see in the pictures that those pipes in the ground That's all that Highgate will have.
Really?
It's just a leach field.
Huh.
A field that takes the effluent water from your septic tank
Yeah.
and disperses it into these pipes in the ground and lets it sink into the ground.
That's right. And how
So-
big, and the parcel, how big is the parcel where this is happening?
The parcel's 18 acres,
Yeah.
and that was because of the amount of gallons per day.
Yeah.
We have the capacity to go to roughly 30,000 gallons per day.
And is that more than you originally thought? Did I
Yes,
see? Yeah.
yes, we had originally thought just to do for the village core property for
Yeah.
6,500 gallons.
Yeah.
The state had reached out and asked, why don't you go for the whole plan? Why don't you develop it so that it's ready for future expansion?
Yeah.
And when we asked, well, what's the advantage? And the advantage is that, number one, there's extra money there for that process,
Yeah.
and that we wouldn't have to go through all the permits and everything again.
Yeah.
So if we did this at 6,500, 5 years, we wanted to go to 12,000, would be resubmitting all the permits and everything. So the state said, do it all at once. If you want to construct it in phases, then that's okay.
Hmm.
So,
Great. So you're going to have more capacity than you originally thought.
yes, and we've had several businesses in town that are now asking for the ability to hook on to this wastewater system. So, that being the case, we would already be over our 6,500 gallons.
So what's the latest? When are we, again, we're in due, I should know, we're taping this show on Monday, October 23rd. Obviously, no work, I assume, over the winter, but next year, will we see some?
Yes, well, we will actually be doing some work over the winter
will.
because we'll be needing to expand our study of the groundwater systems on that 18-acre parcel in order to do the full design.
Yeah.
So we'll have some small activity going on there, but yes, we hope to have a bid out to contract in the summer. Before that happens, we'll go to the public to request their approval to go to construction.
And is that likely, could that happen at next town meeting or not that?
That's what we're
What's the
hoping.
plan?
Yes,
March town meeting?
yes.
That's right.
So-
And if you get a positive vote, is that the last positive vote, then you can actually move ahead with,
Then we can move ahead with the wastewater. This map here shows the pink area is actually the village core property
yeah,
that is to be developed.
yeah,
You see these faint circles.
yeah.
Those faint circles are actually the reason we need to have wastewater.
Huh.
These circles are showing the well waters of the surrounding neighbors.
Yeah,
So we don't ever want to consider polluting someone's
Sure.
water. Water's a precious commodity, even though this particular summer we've had lots of it.
yeah,
So we want to make sure that any development we have has safe water, safe sewer, safe stormwater.
yeah,
So that just gives you an example how many circles were involved in this property,
yeah,
and that's how it came to the decision that we needed an off-site wastewater.
okay,
That it wasn't a decision that was made willy-nilly, that there actually has been a lot of study done on it.
yeah,
And it's very important for the safety of everyone in the village to be able to have that access.
yeah. How's the water? Is it good water in the village?
Water is questionable.
Yeah, of course, that's been a big issue at the airport, which maybe we'll
Yes.
touch on later.
Yes. So for
Huh.
water for the village and septic, actually,
Yeah,
most of the homes are 40 to 60 years old in the village. The state says that a wastewater system or septic system probably has a 30-year life.
wow,
So we possibly have failed septics that people are unaware of,
yeah,
that might be in the process of failing,
huh,
have failed. So this also gives them an opportunity to come in and say, okay, I'd like to have the ability to hook up to this, even if it's sometime in the future, so that my property's protected. A lot of these are small acreages,
yeah,
and there's not a place to put a replacement system.
So could all the houses in the Highgate Center in the Village area hook on if they wanted to? Have you got enough capacity to get everybody if they wanted in?
In the original design, we
Yeah.
had gone down St. Armand Road,
Yeah,
from the rail trail down to the village center.
yeah,
We had some information that some of those systems had already failed. So that's where they chose to do that, plus the 5,000 gallons per day that we knew that we were looking to roughly give to the village core property.
yeah.
We've had interest from this business here and from a gas station over here, so those are large wastewater captures.
Yeah,
They take a lot more wastewater than you would assume.
yeah.
So yes,
And I'm sure all those homes, obviously not everybody's gonna, and the cost for, is that clear right now? If someone wants to hook on, I realize you're kind of still early on here.
we're in the process of getting those figures down so that we can answer those questions
Sure.
for the public
Yeah,
of how much it would cost to hook up.
yeah,
Right now, there's some state funding and federal funding so that some of those costs would be paid for if you chose to hook on now, which would definitely be a benefit for some folks.
yeah.
But yes, we could do a large section with the 30,000 gallons. We could do a large section of the village center.
So again, looks like probably a March town meeting vote on kind of the second vote on this.
Yes,
And if that's positive, should be able to move ahead with this.
yes, we could put that project out to bid.
And could that work be finished by next year sometime? Is that the,
Yes, we're thinking that if everything were to go smoothly
yeah,
and we get the information out to the public and
Yeah.
answer their questions properly, that we could have a system by hopefully the end of December next year.
well, of course, what's interesting is I think about it, for folks who aren't in the village, folks in kind of outlying areas, that's going to be probably a bit harder to convince them. They're going to, I can only assume for some of them saying, what's in this for us?
Exactly.
So what do you tell to those folks?
Well,
Just kind of for the good of the community kind of thing?
I see that as one point, that it's for the good of all.
Yeah,
Similar to a school system, you may or may not have children now or have ever had them in the system, but
yeah,
we do that so that the community thrives. So we support our school systems.
yeah,
The village wastewater is the same. We want our village to thrive.
yeah,
We want it to have some more development.
yeah.
We want to be able to take that village core property and put that back on the tax rolls.
Right.
And the more that it's on the tax rolls, of course, the more your individual tax will go down, theoretically. But we want to say too that it's protecting our groundwater. It's protecting our rivers and our streams and our lake. It's a part of doing our due diligence and being good neighbors. We certainly don't want to poison anyone's water.
Yeah,
You asked about water earlier. We have had several incidents of high arsenic in the water system. Not the town's water, but a couple of the churches have had an issue.
really.
So that also may be something that needs to happen in the future to keep everyone protected.
And of course, the village core, a lot of things we could talk about, but certainly one of the biggest items out there is a possibility of proposed new community center library. It
Yes.
sounds like a pretty key, that's kind of the biggest kind of component of this, or one of the biggest reasons to be looking at this?
Well, the town of Highgate is currently searching for partners.
Okay.
We want to see if we can find a commercial partner
Huh.
who would be interested in coming in and maybe putting in one or two small commercial buildings.
Yeah,
We are looking for somebody who might be interested in rehabilitating the Steinauer,
right.
who might be interested in preserving a historic building and then using it for a purpose.
Senior housing has also, of course, come up also.
Senior housing is very important to the community. Our population is aging. We'd like them to be able to stay in their hometown
Sure.
without having to heat large old farmhouses and things that just don't make sense for people now. So yes, we are looking for a partner for that as well.
So good old public-private partnerships in Albany City's fared, I think, pretty
Yes.
well with that.
Yes, they have done an awesome job, and we hope to emulate just a little bit of their success.
Yeah. You getting any hints, any early indications that you might,
I've had
some partners?
some outreach with a couple of different partners, so I'm hoping that, they'll be interested enough, and maybe the town can make it enticing enough to provide a good partnership.
Yeah. So when might you, is again, picking out the different things, but the new community center library, is that quite a ways down the road? I mean, you need to get the system in place. Is that quite a ways away?
Well, we are hoping that if wastewater goes in 24,
Yeah.
that we can have some funding and our support in place for 25.
Yeah. That's not so far down the road.
No, it's not. It goes very quickly.
Yeah. Interesting. So you feel you got some movement on this project at this point?
Yes, the architects have already done various drawings on a new library, and the library trustees and staff have been going through those on a regular basis, making some adjustments. We've talked about the community center being very important and something that the town needs. I mean, we currently are voting out of our sports arena lobby
Yeah.
because we don't have the space
Yeah.
with appropriate parking.
Yeah. I noticed just driving through town just the other day, I noticed Highgate Town office is closed on Friday. Is that kind of is that a new thing?
We've been doing that for a couple of years.
Oh, really?
We had so many complaints that we were not open during lunch hour.
Oh, really?
So now we are open during lunch hour, but on Fridays, the office doors are closed, but
You folks are still doing your thing, I suspect.
yes, usually the town clerk and I are there. We do take appointments, and the town treasurer works from home most of the time, so
Yeah.
we're all working just in a little bit different fashion. Sometimes not having the door open to the public allows for a little more work to be done.
But Monday through Thursday, folks can come in at lunch hour, so there's any
Yes.
time.
Yeah, from 9 to 4 on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
But yes. And like I said, we're all pretty much available by appointment if someone, has any special interests or questions.
Yeah. Can I flip you over to the airport project a little bit
Absolutely.
here? Again, big potential project, a lot of possibilities down the road. Of course, there was a vote in Highgate,
Yes.
basically authorizing the extension of water and sewer lines from, I guess, MVU out to the airport, and that of course, passed pretty decisively, as I recall. That work didn't
Yes.
happen this year, but should get going next year.
Right. The state has, and the federal FAA have done some work at the airport
Right.
this year.
So I guess, widening the runway, repaving
Yes,
it?
repaving it, doing some logistic work for them. The state has acquired the Handy property that is running along 78 there. So they have future plans for that property. They are working with Franklin County Field Days. They have agreed to do one more year.
Oh, is that, I didn't.
At the airport,
In fact,
yes.
I hadn't caught that news, so one more year?
Yes.
Oh, great.
So that's good for them.
Heck, that's new news for me.
Yeah.
I meant to ask people about that and didn't happen to make it this year, but it looks like one last year, presumably.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and their
that's good
group
news.
is working for a new location as well, but
Yeah.
it may be something that gets renewed for a few years until things
Yeah.
try to go to fruition.
And I guess for anything else, for the, the hope for some new companies, industries moving in by the airport, that'll certainly await the water sewer line extension.
Yes.
So no particularly new news on anything else going on out there, or?
Well, we're very excited because we finally have all of our easements.
Okay.
We had struggled to get easements from the state, but they have come through in the last month. So we're very excited because all of that paperwork gets submitted to the Economic Development Administration, who is our main grant funder.
Well, I think they were correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were the key funder going back many decades for
Yes.
both the arena and the Highgate Town offices,
Yep.
correct? And I
Yep.
think Swanton Village Municipal Complex too.
Yes, no, they are a good partner for Franklin County,
Yeah,
as well as Tim Smith and Elizabeth Nance have been awesome in helping us. For the airport, once EDA approves our paperwork, that construction will go out to bid. So that construction will go out to bid this fall.
okay.
So they may do some prep work prior to snow, but the main project will be in 2024.
Wow. So definitely some movement on that front.
Yes, no, that is moving very quickly now.
Yeah.
So that's an awesome thing, hopefully. And we already have requests for an extension of that line already.
Yeah, oh, is that right?
Yes, we have a 15-lot subdivision that we are hoping to provide more industrial commercial space. And so that's very hopeful.
Was there some thought, I guess, I hate to think of the price tag, was there some thought, speaking of extending water and sewer lines from Swanton Village into Highgate Center, or is cost just seemed to, I suspect that crossed somebody's mind, but
It did, yes.
pretty prohibitive cost.
It is very prohibitive
Yeah.
cost at this point. And we want to be careful too, Swanton Village has a limited capacity for us. We're grateful for their assistance with this project.
Yeah.
We couldn't do it without them.
And, yeah,
They've been a
Swanton
great
Village
partner.
officials were, very
Yeah.
strong proponents of this, of course.
Yeah.
And they've got their own issue, they've got a vote coming up, I guess, November 7th on a wastewater facility expansion project.
Yes, and they're putting in a municipal planning grant to come up with a capital improvement plan to keep their facilities up to date and modernized. So I know our select board just signed a letter of support for them. So
Yeah.
that's what helps make this job interesting,
Yeah.
is the support that all of the towns and the community and county have for each other, and even for us, the governor's office and the state legislators have been awesome for us.
Do you get together with other administrators, managers in Franklin County? Do you folks
We do.
get together once in a while?
Yeah, we get
Seems
together.
like a smart thing to do.
Yeah, we get together usually every 2 months.
Yeah, trust them.
But yes, sometimes it's a question-answer period.
Yeah.
Who do you use? What do you do?
Yeah,
Which is great for me because I'm
sure.
new to this.
Yeah.
But yes, all the people I have met have been great.
Right. Have about another 6 minutes or so. Do we finish Village Core? You want to go back to Village Core? Or do pretty much?
Well, we have a couple of other things that we're doing.
Yeah.
Our transfer station.
In fact, that was actually on my list. How much life is there left to that transfer station?
Well, it depends on whether it stays upright.
And of course, it was originally originally a landfill, of course.
Yes, the town is obligated to keep that landfill in place and protected.
Huh.
As part of that, we've had several slides over the last 2 decades
Right.
that have threatened it.
Right.
We finally got approval just last month to start with the go-ahead for construction on the 2 high-risk areas that we've been working on for 15 years.
Wow.
So that project will also start a little bit of prep work this year, and then in the spring we'll go gangbusters, and that project will be finished next year as well. We also received some damage from this year's storms. Unfortunately, the county was not allowed to be part of that FEMA declaration.
Right, just not enough, not too much.
Correct,
damage.
but with the damage that Highgate suffered, which was roughly $1.1 million worth of damage, that would
really?
put the
Wow.
county over the amount needed for a FEMA declaration of the county.
Huh.
So it would help everyone in our county if we could get that approved. We had reached out to the state. We pretty much begged and called in all our favors in order to get the timeline changed, which FEMA did for us.
Huh.
But then quickly denied our claim.
Really?
So we are actually in the process of filing an appeal and asking them to reconsider this. They denied our claim because they said it was something that we knew about prior to.
Really?
Because in 2016, there was a study done that the area where it failed was a low priority, low risk area. Our rebuttal is to say the town did its due diligence. We did everything we could to protect the landfill itself,
Yeah.
which is the highest priority.
Yeah.
If that were to collapse into the stream and into the river,
Sure.
it would be a disaster.
Sure.
So we put all of our focus into doing that. FEMA dragged their feet for years. We finally have the approval now. But now you're saying, well, you knew this low risk. And we said, no. Low risk versus high risk.
Yeah.
We did what we were supposed to.
Yeah.
So we are currently fighting that.
Interesting. Police covered St. Albans City, of course, covering Highgate at this point. Have they made it clear that they probably wouldn't be interested in another year? Of course, they're hooking up with St. Albans Town next July 1st. We'll be covering the town again.
Yes.
So it'll be after. Have you had discussions with the Sheriff's Department or anybody else about that, or a little early?
We have had some discussions.
Yeah.
Very disappointed in the way that all happened.
Oh, really?
It's a great deal for St. Albans City and St. Albans Town.
Huh. I mean,
But-
just disappointed from Highgate's point of view?
Correct.
And the city's made it clear that they're not going to be in for another year.
Yeah, no,
They're
the
gone.
city and
They're
town have made an agreement that,
Right.
no, they would not do any outside work.
Right. So I think I asked the Swanton Village. I guess that would be another possibility also, Swanton Village PD, which of course covers Swanton Town now.
Right,
So it sounds like that would be your two options here, or possible options.
right.
But you definitely want you definitely would want some coverage, I assume.
Yes, I mean, we have our responsibilities to our taxpayers to provide police protection.
Sorry.
And right now, that's a hard sell.
Yeah. I think the city's done a decent job with Highgate.
The first couple of years were fabulous. They
Yeah.
did a great job.
Yeah.
We couldn't have been happier.
Huh. Not so
Now,
much.
no, they're having staffing issues as well as trying to play nice with St. Albans Town.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
we're struggling.
Yeah. About a minute and a half left, and we can take some more time if you want. I don't want to cut you off
Nope.
here. Any other quick things another topic or two to talk about?
I can say that FEMA's been great about doing some home buyouts.
Yeah.
We are finishing demolition on a property on the Macy Road.
Huh.
So we have also just received $405,000 worth of grant to do a home buyout on the Monument Road.
Huh.
When we had the flooding before, when we needed to have the National Guard come in and bring people out, this particular home received the most damage.
Huh.
And he was wanting to stay in his home, but after the last 5 or so years, I'm sure the mold and what have you
Yeah.
have made a dent in the property. So the town's agreed to help with that, and FEMA's been wonderful with that.
Interesting. But budget, again, seconds left. Budget work, is that kind of started for the next year?
Oh yes, our capital improvement plan has already started putting figures in, and it'll be budget season soon. Our taxes are due October 31st.
Right.
So once that is finished, then our treasurer and the rest of us will start doing our budgeting.
And as I think about it, another regular town meeting coming up when the issue of Australian ballot may well come up again, but it'll be
Correct.
at least one more kind of regular
Yes.
town meeting. I guess on that note, Sharon Bousquet, the Highgate Town Administrator, thanks a lot. You covered a lot of ground. Sounds like there's some good movement in Highgate these days.
Yes, yeah, we're very happy to keep going forward.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks to producer Alan Cunningham. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. We appreciate you watching us here on Northwest Access TV. See you next time.